You have a lot of people online saying, "Oh, I made $250,000, $500,000, or $1 million in real estate," but they failed to mention that money came from selling courses. That money came from selling ebooks. That money didn't come from cash flow from your properties.
Right.
If you see people posting on real estate every day, but they're not in properties, what they're really teaching you, because you can't do both. I promise you.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, StephenMotivate, back again with another episode of The Journey. We have a special guest for you today, all the way in from Philly.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if it's West Philadelphia,
No,
okay.
All
right, I was going to start singing the song. I don't know. But, yeah, I think it's cool because we met online here recently, so I'm going to get to know you just as the audience is going to get to know you.
Yep.
But what I think is cool is that in just our little time of talking, we've been talking about authenticity, people that are really doing it. And so without any further ado, I want to welcome to the show Mr. Calvin Cannon Jr. What's up, bro?
Hey, man, thank you. First and foremost, I want to say thank you, Stephen, for having me out here.
Absolutely.
Talk to your audience. It's been an honor and a pleasure.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Thanks for coming, and thanks for being willing to share your knowledge with us. Give yourself a better introduction than what I gave, because you. Who knows you better than you know you?
Nah, you did good, man. But just for the audience out there, my name is Calvin Cannon Jr. From Philadelphia, PA. I am a real estate investor, not a real estate influencer, right? So one of the things that we focus on and we do is the cash flow roadmap, where we teach you how to build properties. We teach you how to take your real estate portfolio from one level to the next level. One of the things that we really focus on is buy, flip, hold until your cash flow supersedes your flips.
Okay. Buy, flip, hold until your cash flow supersedes your flips.
Yes, sir.
All right. I want you to break that down at some point as we go through. So this is dope. So tell us about your journey. On this show, we talk a lot about the journey, especially for go-getters, entrepreneurs, A-types, people that, basically want to be successful.
For sure.
Right? And so tell us kind of, where does it start for you? Where does it start for your story? Have you always wanted to get after it?
Yeah. So for me, I'm just like the average person, right? Working a 9-to-5 job. And I wanted something different, right? Being a young age, but a very young age. I started in real estate at the age of 17.
Okay.
Not that it was designed. So I don't want anybody to be like, it wasn't designed like that. I wanted to get out of my parents' house. My mom was really strict. My dad was strict. So I was like, you know what? I was going to Temple University in Philadelphia. Okay. And I'm like, I can't keep going home to these restricted rules. I gotta, can't be on my cell phone at, 9 o'clock or, back then it was pagers and beepers. I don't want to tell my age, but so, you know what I'm saying? Right. So I couldn't be communicating, had to be in bed by 9, street light come on. So I really wanted my independence. I was a college student. So I'm like, I need to, I need to get out there. So what I did was, I was going to Temple, and I really wasn't that sharp when it came to paperwork, right? So I had filled out my college tuition funds to get grants for the semester. And anybody knows, if you go to a college, you get money funds for the semester for books and for food.
Right.
And I filled out mine late. I got it towards the end of the semester. I got a check for $5,000.
Yeah.
17, 18 years old, I thought I was up.
Yeah.
I thought I was up.
Me
right?
too. Same feeling. I did the same thing.
So the first thing I thought was, can I get an apartment? So somebody told me about this older woman who was selling a property at 32nd and Cecil P. Moore back in the 90s, and I bought that duplex for $5,000.
Really?
$5,000.
So immediately your mind goes to, can I get this and put it into real estate?
No, my mind was, can I get this and get out of my parents' house?
Okay.
I wasn't even thinking about real estate yet. I was just like, I need to be on my own.
Got you. Yep. Okay, so but you bought a whole apartment or just one unit?
No. I bought a whole entire apartment building in 1991 for $5,000.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, that's it wasn't the best. Like the windows was messed up. It was roaches, rats. Everything is in there. I had like one sofa that I would put in front of the door to block it. I was eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I was making, cookies. Iced tea was my dinner because I was a college student. I was going back and forth.
Right.
So I bought it for $5,000, man, and I moved in it. I was proud of it. Finished another semester. Almost actually finished the whole year. And another gentleman came along. I'll say he was an entrepreneur. He had his pharmaceutical business, that he was doing off the books and off the records, right?
Right.
So he came along and said, hey, he wanted to buy the property for $60,000. And then I was like, what? Okay, whatever. So I kind of like brushed it off. Kept going to school. Probably like a week or two later, he came. He had a bag full of money, and he was like, "I want to buy the property." He had documents. At that time, I didn't know what I was signing. I didn't know nothing about real estate.
Right.
But I know that this man had a bag full of money.
Right.
So he came in. I signed the documentations. He gave me the bag of money. I don't even think I counted. He probably got over on me too, because I don't even think I counted it.
Yeah.
I just knew it was a lot of money. I signed over. I grabbed all my clothes that I had, my school books, and I moved back into my parents' house.
Cool, I'm out.
I'm out. Gone. You know what? I know it was still furniture in there that I left in there because I was just so excited. I thought I was rich.
Yeah.
I thought I came up.
Well, I guess at that time you would have been. So let's go back a little bit.
Yeah.
What made you go into college? Because, in the 90s especially, college ain't necessarily for young black men.
Yeah.
It's not the most common thing. I mean, there was obviously people going, but.
I didn't have a choice.
Okay.
My parents was like, it's either college or get a job, or you're going to have to go move in with your grandparents. So it wasn't that I was opposed of college. I just wanted to get out.
Right.
So it was like, if it was going to college, to go to a college dorm to get out of my parents' house, I was going to do it.
Was the parents college educated too? Or?
So my mom was the vice president of Colonial Penn, which was an insurance company back in the day.
Oh, wow.
And my dad owned bars and clubs in the city of Philadelphia. So he always had the entrepreneur in him, but it was the nightlife. And my mom wanted me to stay away from the nightlife. So college was always there.
Right.
And it was me again. Like I wasn't a brainiac. I just wanted to get out of my parents' house. Yeah. So
do you credit them with all that push and all that strictness for like some of your success now? Do you think it built something in you to be like, let's get after it, let's go get it? Just that uncomfortability. Do you think they knew what they was doing and kind of unintentionally pushing you out?
Yeah, I think my ignorance of being a young child, I didn't respect it then, but I definitely respect it now.
Yeah.
I wanted to be an attorney, when I was in college.
Yeah.
Graduated, supposed to go to law school, but then I got the real estate bug, man. I never turned back after that.
60,000 or a bag full of cash at a young age like that. I mean, I can only imagine. I remember doing something similar, getting some student loans and having some leftover money, and this was later on. I was actually a graduate student at this time, but I bought some properties. And this is why I'm not in real estate. Is because I bought some properties. I bought a bunch of them in the tax sale. I bought like 9 properties for like $2,500 or something crazy. But, and we started fixing them up. But then, people, the drug addicts or whoever would come and take the copper out or take out the new water heater we just put in. And so I'm like, man, I'm not, or pull down the aluminum siding.
Yeah.
And so I kind of, had my, I don't know what you call it. I was down on my luck after my first real estate activities, and I've never really got back into it. But
you know what's funny about that, Stephen, is that I tell people that you never lose in real estate until you quit. You never lose, man. You're going to take some lessons. You're going to take some bumps and bruises, but don't quit.
See, I got to get back into it.
Yeah.
But okay, let's keep going. Let's keep going. So you get the 60 bands or however much it was, and you leave out. You go back to Mom Duke's.
Yep.
What's after that?
So I go back to my mom's house, shared the money with the family, goofed it off a little bit. I'm still young, bought cars, some crazy stuff.
Yeah, of course.
But I was smart enough to, I bought my first quad after that. So I bought a 4-unit building on the 4400 block of Germantown Ave. Actually, we bought 2 of them. Purchased those. And almost similar to your story, the difference is that I moved. So again, I went home, but I didn't want to be home.
Right.
So when I got the 4-unit building, I moved into the 4-unit building.
Yeah.
And I fixed up the unit by myself. I lived in every single unit. I painted. I did my own electric. I did my own plumbing. And I know today, hopefully, whoever's living in there, I know it ain't up to code. So but I did my best. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I didn't know.
What you had
I mean, I got light switches with probably duct tape on it right now, man. So,
as long as them lights come on.
They come on. Yeah, absolutely.
That's crazy.
Absolutely.
Man, that's a different type of individual, though. Like, what was you just to actually live in those spaces? Because I would, admittedly, I was either probably scared or like didn't want to be too uncomfortable.
Yeah. So
what in you made you like, okay, I'm gonna go live in these places, and if I gotta be uncomfortable or if I gotta do the work myself,
right,
I'm gonna get it done.
Because when I got there, again, I wanted my independency. Because Mom Dukes kept the door open for food, for me to go back and forth to eat, I was sleeping there at night.
Okay.
And then I just knew, I said, you know what, if I can get this together, maybe I can rent it out. I still wasn't too sure what real estate was.
Right.
I just knew that I had another property. once I got them fixed up, and then I started getting tenants. So my very first tenant moved in. They was on because we started on the first floor. I went all the way up to the third floor. So the tenant went on the first floor. I think I made my first $700 when the tenant moved in, and I just went crazy. $700 a month. And remember, I didn't have a mortgage back then because I bought the property cash. I bought that for $10,000.
Wow.
No mortgage on it. Didn't even understand taxes. I understand no insurance. I probably didn't have no property insurance, no nothing.
Right.
But I moved that tenant in. They paid $700. I moved the second tenant in. I want to say they probably paid between $700 to $800. On the third floor, I got another $700, and then I had another $700 because I had another unit around the back. So at this point, I'm probably bringing in like $2,800 to $3,000 a month.
Wow,
it's up now. Now I'm understanding it.
And you still going to school at this time?
So I graduated out of school, and then I started working for a retail supermarket, Pathmark Supermarkets.
Wow.
Yeah. So now I'm in the work field, and now I'm bringing the tenants in. So I'm getting my paycheck every week. And now I'm bringing this money in over here.
This is crazy. So what about, in college, I don't hear a lot of time for you to party.
I never partied, man. Never. I just never wasn't that type of guy.
So you wasn't spending your time going to the fraternity houses, drinking the beers, chasing the girls, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so tell us why you weren't that type of guy.
Because my mom, so before my mom and dad separated, again, my dad was in the nightlife. So my mom wasn't with all that. You know what I mean? So, if I said I'm going somewhere or doing something on a late night, she didn't like it. And then my dad pushed me away from it. I wanted to be in partnership with my dad. But he would never bring me into the business. Then when they separated, things happened with parents. My mom, put my dad out. So then at that point, I became the man of the house. So I felt like, I want to make sure Mom Deuce is good.
Right.
But I just was never, into parties.
So you just had a different focus, period.
Different focus.
Wow. That's pretty cool because we all get so caught up in, especially culture, like entertainment is so big, especially seemingly Black people run entertainment.
Yeah, for sure.
If we're not the face of it, it's like everyone who else that is the face of it, they got like a little swag to them that feels like the culture. It feels like, And so I feel like that's what we get a moniker for. But I think your story is that it don't have to be that way.
Don't have to be that way, man. Don't get me wrong. I listened to rap music back then, and I was even in a rap group and different things like that, but no parties, man.
Yeah. Not wasting your time with a lot of drinking, drugging.
Nothing.
Just wasting time, video games, doing all that. It's like, no, I'm working and I'm hustling on the side.
For sure.
Doing. Okay, so this is really cool. So when did you, so just tell us what happened. Like, is everything going good? Is there all the tenants are great? When do you experience that first gut punch?
Yeah, so I had the property on Germantown Ave. I was working at Pathmark Supermarkets. Pathmark folded, and I started working for a Rite Aid pharmaceutical company. Money was just coming in, man, and what I recognized early was that my job was my first investor. So even though that I had the $60,000, don't get me wrong, that $60,000 probably was gone in 4 months.
Right, right.
So it was, and the people might say, well, how could you spend all that money? I gave my mom some, gave my sister some. I bought, 2 more quads. The money was gone. So I still was relying on my 9 to 5.
Yeah.
When I realized is that my job started stressing me because I was working so hard for a company that I wanted to get to the top. I started off at the entry level. I worked my way all the way up to a district manager, regional manager. And I just felt like I kept giving them more and kept giving them more. And the breaking point for me, even though I was still buying real estate during this process, but the breaking point for me was I got diagnosed with prostate cancer. And when I got diagnosed with prostate cancer, I had went out, I got treated, I beat cancer, and my job asked me, when are you coming back to work? And I'm like, what? And then when I came back to work, all the work that was backed up for the 6 to 8 months that I was out was piled up on my desk. At that point, I was like, nah, something got to give.
Yeah.
And at that point, my job paying me $120,000 a year. I said, I need to do better. So I got my real estate license, and my focus now was I need to corner the market in this. If I can bring $2,800, $3,000 off of this 1 4-unit building, I need to figure out how to corner the market. So I got my real estate license. I started learning about share of sales. I started learning about buying more properties faster.
Yeah.
That following year, through real estate, not just from properties, but from my real estate license dealing with clients, And also my tenants coming in, I cleared that year over $200,000. That's when I told my job. I respectfully fired my boss.
Right. Respectfully fired my boss. Yeah. That's dope. I mean, that's actually crazy. Like, how did you feel when they, you just beat cancer and they're like, hey, when you coming back? What did
it hurt me, man, because, the one thing that I remember very clear is that when I was laying in the hospital and I prayed and I just said, God, listen, you came for me, and I wasn't ready to go.
Right.
But I promise you, if you get me off of this table and you heal me, I will pour into everybody and all the knowledge that I have in real estate. So the next time you come for me, I will be empty.
Wow.
And that was my prayer that I prayed every single day. And when the doctor told me that my operation was successful, and then I called my job, let them know, hey, everything is good. I might need another 4 to 6 weeks. They was like, no. Like, we need you to come back to work. And I'm just like, excuse me?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, I was nervous because, I didn't have no medical coverage. But the medical coverage was with the job.
Right.
And then remember, the income was coming in from the job. So when I couldn't do real estate, I was still getting my half of my income from my job.
Right.
So when they said that to me, I just felt like they owned me. Like I had to go back or I wasn't gonna get paid anymore.
Right.
So I went back, had to sit down with my boss. And he's like, yeah, so this pile of stuff right here, when you was gone, we didn't have anybody that can replace that, so I'm going to need you to do this. I'm like, dude, you didn't have anybody that can do this?
Right.
And they was like, no, we was waiting on you. And it stressed me out to the point, like, I sat there and literally, man, like frustration and tears just was coming in my eyes because I'm just like, how am I out 6 to 8 months and you want me to backtrack all the work? A week after that, they tried to write me up because I wasn't moving fast enough.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, no, I'm out.
Wow.
I'm out. Yeah.
The write-up is diabolical.
It's crazy, man.
The write-up is crazy. So obviously you were good at your job.
Absolutely.
For you to even be, for them to, one, basically you're irreplaceable for 6 to 8 months. And like you said, you were moving up. So you're a case of, hey, I did everything. I put it all in.
Yep.
I am bringing my full self to work.
Yep.
But at some point, y'all are not really valuing me.
They didn't reciprocate my value, man.
They did not reciprocate my value.
And I was blinded to it because of the fact that when you in corporate America, and don't get me wrong, and this is for everybody that's working a 9 to 5, don't listen to this and go quit your job. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is leverage your job. Your job is your first silent partner.
Yeah.
And if you can understand that early, I don't care if you hate your job, go to job, get the education. So before I respectfully fired them, I took all the paperwork that was there, all the HR documents. I took all my forms and I said, you know what? I'm going to put this into my business.
Yeah.
So everything that they taught me, I created my business off of those forms, off of those documentations.
Wow.
That's how you leverage it.
That's how you leverage it. I love that because we say that here all the time. Like, your job is your first investment. And I, right now, to this day, still work a 9 to 5. And, thank God I like my job and, and everything's okay,
sure.
As of right now. But it's just a good thing to think about.
Absolutely.
Like, you don't want to live your entire life and, like, whenever that moment happens, because you never know, like, at some point, if the value stops being reciprocated, right? Because at some point you're on the career journey, it's like, okay, you get another raise or you get a promotion and it feels like it. But like when life happens like that and it's like, wait a minute, this kind of reminds me or reminds us or reminds everyone that y'all don't really, I'm a cog for you. I'm just a number. I'm just an ID card. And, I think that's important for a lot of people. Like, when is the right time to know when to let go? And it sounds like what you're saying is when the value just stops being reciprocated.
Yeah, and but when you do feel that the value is not there no more, you have to create your exit strategy. You just can't go in there and you just wild out like, oh, I'm tired of this, I'm out. No, you can't. you can't do that. So what you have to do is you have to understand, what's my exit strategy, right? If I gave this job 10, 15, 20 years of my life, I'm leaving with something.
Right.
And I'm going to leave with the information.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave with documents. And I'm going to leave with at least getting some more money to put inside of my business. and I'm going to say this, but I don't want anybody to think that this is the right way to go. I was hoping they fired me because now I can collect unemployment and still bet on myself and not feel insecure about the pay coming in.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Now I'm not saying go get fired. I'm just saying that's what I wanted.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because you had a path this way, and you were. So yeah, it makes sense in that scenario. And you're right. Not everybody is going to be set up to go in tomorrow and be like, all right, I'm out. Y'all don't value me. But to your point, like create that exit strategy. What does it look like in 5 years, in 5 months, in 3 years, in 3 months, whatever it be, for you to walk away with something, but still like know that, okay, at some point there's more for me and there's more I got to tap into. And I love what you said about this conversation with God about I'm going to leave it. I'm going to be empty. I don't know. Just talk about that again a little bit.
Man,
like,
what's that? So I always believe all my gifts come from God.
Yeah.
You know, and God don't make mistakes. You know, he gave me this life and he allowed me to manage it. And I wasn't the perfect servant for him to do the certain things that I've done. Yeah. But what I do know is that he continued to bless me. And he continued to make sure that no matter what happened, I was going to be all right. Yeah. So when I say those prayers and I ask him for guidance and he says to me, hey, I put you here to help guide the people. Right. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Yeah. And then when I see foolery and I'm just like, no, that's not the right thing. That's not right. It's my job to step in and be like, no, you should be doing it this way. Exactly. You know, and it's not always about money. It's not always about, monetizing on it, but it's always about the information. Yeah. Because if I can help you, if I can give you some information today and you take it to help somebody else tomorrow, I won. Yeah. And we won together. And
it's not just a service to them. It's really a service to God,
Absolutely.
too.
It's a gift that I was given from him.
Yeah, that's powerful. That's an amazing way to think about that. Okay, so let's jump back into it. So you are now, you quit the job.
Yep.
Is it a tough time? Is that a gut punch?
Oh, yeah. I mean, so my biggest fear, and I know there's a lot of people fears out there, is for me, it was insurance. You know, I got hit, I got sick, and then I'm like, oh man, how am I quitting? I don't got no insurance, right? You have to stop allowing people to put fear in you. Like people used to tell me, oh, your insurance is going to be $3,000, $3,500 a month. You're not going to be able to afford it. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I can't afford that. Right. But then I had to figure it out. I had to go back and study. I had to make sure that, hey, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this the right way. So leaving the job, the one thing that helped me is because whatever my job was paying me, like the $120, $130 a year, I said to myself, once I make that in 1 year, there is no more fear. So that the following year, the year before I quit, I made 200 plus thousand off of the real estate. Once I made that, it was game over because I doubled my salary. Right. And I never went out. I never partied. I mean, I did blow to 60,000, but I think I got that out of my system for spending foolishly with money. Really? So when I had the money coming in from the real estate, I started planning properly. I started understanding. I started studying. I started, taking people courses. I picked up a mentor, and I wanted to learn real estate the right way to try to survive. Yeah.
What did you do? Like, why the mentor? Like, why you? I understand it. Like, you wanted to learn the right way, but how'd you pick the right mentor? How'd you not fall for the scammer versus
we're gonna talk about that. So the first mentor. The first mentor I ran across, it was actually by accident. Remember, I was still a licensed real estate agent. I was selling properties, and my mentor, George Anderson, he was into new construction. And he had built a couple properties, and I was going to go sell them. And we met each other. Back then, I was like driving a Jaguar or something, and he wanted to go talk to me, but he wasn't my mentor, and he wasn't my client. So my client, I was waiting for, so he walked over to the car, he knocked on the door. He was like, hey, can I have a conversation with you? I'm the owner of the properties. And I put my finger up like 1 minute because I was on the phone. I seen him kind of frown his face up when he walked away. So my client came, we went inside the property, we walked it out. I sold that property to my client. Yeah. When we got to the settlement table, he pulled me to the side. He said, hey, I got a question for you. He was like, do you remember the day that I met you? I said, briefly, real arrogant little young kid. So I'm like, briefly. So he's like, I wanted to talk to you about a business ordeal, and you told me to wait. And he was like, can you explain to me why? I'm like, what? So I'm like, the reason why is because you're not my client. So my obligation is to my client. You wanted to talk to me about this particular sale. And as a real estate agent, I have a responsibility to keep that information with my client. And he shook his head and he was like, I like you. I said, why is that? He said, because you understand the business. And he said, once we get done this deal, I got more deals for you. So we did the deal. His agent, he fired at the table, looked at me and said, that's my new agent. And I was like, okay, so then we did a couple more deals together. He said, listen, I like how you're doing real estate, but let me teach you how to do it the right way. And at that point, he became my mentor.
And you just, did all that take you aback? Like, this dude is trying to argue with me a little bit, but then it's turned into like a friendship.
So the first thing I thought was like, he tripping. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm thinking to myself, like, what is it that he wants? Like, is he trying to, does he want me to discount, some deals? Does he want me to lower my real estate fees? But he didn't ask for none of that. Actually, he was giving me bone. He was like, listen, I'm going to pay you your 3%. And every property you sell, I'm gonna give you an extra $7,000.
Wow.
How you like that? I think I like that a lot. You know what I'm saying? I'm like a little kid in the cage. I like that a lot.
I like that. I mean? I'm with that.
He became my mentor, man. And even till today, I even try to pay him. He was like, it wasn't about the money. And that's when the light bulb went off to me and was like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. He taught me new construction. He taught me how to put my properties in LLCs. He taught me how to get business funding. And then at that point, I took off and started getting more and more information, and then I became the mentor. Because he only learned for so much.
Right.
And he was getting older.
Right.
So then I took the information he taught me, I took it to the next level, then I came back into it.
The baton was passed. So how important is for people that's trying to get into real estate to have a mentor? You didn't have one right off. You got one later on. So should people get one later on? Like, what would be your advice for when someone should get a mentor?
So I would definitely say to people, do your research. Stop allowing people online to influence you to get involved in something that they don't really understand. So if you want to find the right mentor, find you a mentor that is not a real estate influencer. Find you a mentor that's a real estate investor. I do real estate every day and 4 hours on Sunday. I get busy. I'm hands-on. Right? And I tell people this: when you find a mentor, just ask them a few questions. When the last time you've been into a property? Can I come to your property today and see the progress and what you have going on today? I don't want to hear about what you did last year. I want to hear about what you did 2-3 months ago. I want to know, are you in a property today? If your mentor is not in a property today, you don't have the right mentor.
Ooh.
You got a social club. Because that's what that is. That's what it is. And I know some people might get mad and be upset, but you can't teach somebody real estate from a Zoom call in 4 classes. It's impossible. I've been doing real estate for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
And my mentorship is the cash flow roadmap hands-on because you got to be hands-on.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to be very transparent here. I was that guy teaching real estate on Zoom. I was that guy selling intellectual property, trying to pretend it to be real estate.
Yeah.
It's a total different vibe.
Yeah.
Intellectual property is not real estate.
Oh.
You have a lot of people online saying, oh, I made $250,000, $500,000 or $1 million in real estate, but they failed to mention that money came from selling courses. That money came from selling ebooks. That money didn't come from cash flow from your properties.
Right.
So let's be very transparent with the people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I was that guy.
Yeah. And
I felt like, hey, wait a minute. I got a community of 200-300 people and I'm teaching every Wednesday online, but nobody's executing. That wasn't my promise to God.
Right.
My promise was that we're going to execute. So I stopped my program and I said, listen, no more online classes. You want to learn this real estate? You're going to have to pull up.
Right.
You're going to have to come to the property and I'm going to walk you through the entire phase that I do from start to finish. It takes me about 90 days to 4 months to complete an entire property.
Yeah.
My mentorship is 4 months.
Yeah.
After that, you get 6 months of support. And I don't mean support where you're going to talk to the secretary. No, you're going to talk to me.
Right.
Because I'm the person that's going to give you the information that you need to get over the roadblock.
Right.
These people nowadays, you see a lot of flashy stuff online.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to be very, very careful. You got to be very, very careful. If you really want to know this business, you ask your mentor, are you hands-on? Or are we going to be on a Zoom call? Because if we on a Zoom call, I don't need it.
Right.
I can get that from YouTube.
Yeah. There's plenty of pre-recorded Zoom calls that's out there. I like that because I think we were in a season. I don't know if it was the pandemic. I don't know what it was. 3 years ago, it was like everyone was saying you need a mentor, and you do.
Yep.
And a lot of people were mentoring or coaching, and there was some good in that.
Yep.
But to your point, it's almost like it ran its course because who's really putting in the action and who's really getting the results?
Right.
And you're not going to get results if I'm understanding you correctly, without really getting your hands on the thing.
Real estate leaves residue, and a lot of people's hands is too clean.
Yeah. Say that again.
Real estate leaves residue, and a lot of people's hands is too clean.
So you've got the wrong mentor if their hands is too clean.
Too clean. Because
if they not in a property right, like where were you in this week? Like what are you working on currently?
Man, absolutely. So from Philadelphia, right? Yeah. So flew out. One of my properties got a leak. Right now, currently, I'm in the middle of one duplex transitioning into a triplex. I'm in the middle of my triplex finalizing. I'm in the middle of a turnover for a tenant, and I'm in the middle of a flip.
Wow.
I'm in the middle of 4 to 5 different projects right now.
Right now.
But the biggest thing is, so is my mentees. Right?
Yeah.
So you hear a lot of mentors, a lot of mentors are online, they do a lot of bragging, right? Oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Yeah, but what are your mentees doing?
Right.
Because if your mentees can't match your energy or the things that you're doing, are you really teaching them or are you just stunting on them?
Say, are you really teaching them or are you just stunting on them?
Like you know, that's why I say it's a social club, because it's like, you know, there's no reason for me to brag to my mentees, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. No, my job is to teach you how to get there. I'd rather let my mentees shine, not me.
Right.
I don't have to, I let the work speak for itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you've got to be out there doing it. And it's like, in what other arena do you just read the book? Like, that's just like classroom stuff. You've actually got to do it. Like, and many of the mentors or coaches out there, you know, they will frown upon, hey, you went and spent all this money on school, but what'd you do with it?
Right.
But then almost go and do the same thing.
Yep.
Giving you a bunch of theory, a bunch of classes, a bunch of stuff that may have worked in the past, but what are you doing right now?
What are you doing today?
That's outside of what you call intellectual property. It's what you know, and you selling what you know, but you're not really selling a true hands-on, this is how it's done today in the game.
Right.
It's happening. You know, I got deals on the line.
Yes.
I got water leaks. I got this. I got that. I'm dealing with the real issues today. How do you think that advantages a person to have a mentor that's actually dealing with a thing currently?
Because you can pull up and see it. You can touch it, right? A lot of mentors right now, when you teach online, you know, you can't get everything done from one Zoom call. Even if your Zoom call is 4 hours, 5 hours, you can't get it done. I know people right now who have mentees that was in their program, now they're in my program.
Because they didn't get what they
got what the level of the mentor that they had was able to take them to. But you have mentees right now who say, okay, I want to do real estate, but do you know how to read a HUD? Do you know how to read an agreement of sale?
Right.
Do you know how to talk to a title company? Do you know that you need insurance?
Right.
Right. Do you know how to analyze a deal? Right. A lot of these people don't know how to do that because when they on those Zoom classes, their mentors just stunting on them. Oh yeah, we can do this or we can do that, you know, or hey, you know, I'm doing this and I'm doing yes, it's nice to show what you're doing, but take them to the property. Take them to your settlement. Take them to talk to your lender. Take them to talk to your real estate agent. These people need to touch real estate and get the resources that they need in real time.
So they can really know what they're doing.
So they can ask the questions, hey, can you help me out? Or, hey, I'm not sure about this. And the most important thing is, if you on a hands-on mentorship, you're getting resources. So when you walking with me to my property, you see my electrician, hey, as I'm having a conversation with them, go introduce yourself. Now you got the electrician. When I go to the title company, you ask the title clerk, hey, you know, can you explain to me everything that's going on? And then you get their information. Now you got the title company. A lot of these people, they're giving you the information, but then they start gatekeeping. How's that your mentor?
Right.
I'm confused.
Yeah, that don't make sense.
It don't make sense.
Yeah.
You know, I got you to the door, but I'm not going to take you through it because I don't want you to be better than me.
Do you feel like God was displeased or is displeased with people that's not going to that next level? Or was that just a personal thing?
I think that people confuse success with liabilities. And I believe that God is always pleased if you're really genuinely helping. But if you're not really helping, then you're going to have to answer to God on that one. Yeah. Because if you take somebody money and the end result is that they didn't get the information, you owe them a refund.
Yeah. Because you hear people say it's like it's on the, you got to almost, it's on them. I gave them the info. It's on you to figure it out. But it sounds like from your experience, yeah, that's okay. But it's really like you got to self-examine as the mentor.
Yeah.
Not just I gave the mentee what they needed and, whether they do it or not, it's on them. But you got to be more committed to their result, that they actually get it a bit more than just kind of letting them flounder. Hey, I told you what to do. You didn't do it. That's on you.
Yes, because the reason is that people have to they have to keep up with the lifestyle that they started during the pandemic. In order to do that, that's why they're doing these online classes. For me in my program, you can't just join my program.
Yeah.
You can't just click a link and make a payment and join my program. First, we got to have a phone conversation. First, if your credit score is not 700 and you don't at least have $10,000-$15,000 to be able to execute when I send you a property, you're not ready. I'm not the mentor for you.
Right.
Because if you can't execute, then what we really talking about? That means you're going to pay me to do what?
Right.
I'm giving you the information. You can't execute, so you're going to be mad at me in another 90 days. Like, I paid, $3,000, $5,000, $6,000 for this course. You could have used that same money to get your credit right. You could have used that same money to get your funding. So come see me when you're ready. That's what a real mentor is supposed to tell you.
Yeah.
Not be on the phone and just say, oh, you want to sign up for my program? Here's the link.
Yeah.
But you never had no dialogue. You have no idea what the outcome is supposed to be because you never screened that tenant.
Right.
Or, I'm sorry, you never screened that mentee.
That student.
It's just like screening the tenants, right?
Right.
So I screen everybody.
Yeah.
Either myself or somebody on my team. And if you're not in position to execute, my program is not for you.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And do you think we'll see more people moving to that?
After this podcast, yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely.
sir. Because it should be that way, right? Yeah. So let me ask you this. What do you think, for people that want to get into real estate, obviously they need a mentor, and we just delved into that heavily, but what do you think is the biggest mistake that people are making in real estate outside of not having a mentor, if you can even talk from that perspective? But what else are they doing wrong, first-time investors?
So in real estate, you're either going to pay to learn real estate or you're going to pay and learn real estate.
Yeah.
So either way, somebody getting paid.
Yeah.
Right? So I always say that when you start doing real estate and you're not sure what to do, get the information. If you feel like, hey, I don't want to have a mentor, then at least do some studying, do some education, join groups, right? Find you a realtor that's investor friendly. You have to get some type of information to get you over the hump.
Yeah. If not, you're going to be paying for it.
Either you're going to pay for real estate or you're going to pay for real estate.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You can still get into it, but you're going to be overpaying, getting overcharged, getting into bad deals until you learn that you need to learn.
And the biggest issue with people is I say this, everybody want to do real estate until it's time to do real estate.
Yeah.
But everybody want to do it, right? Oh, I see this person talking about cash flow. I see this person talking about that. I want to do real estate. But then when it's time to do real estate, that's not really what you want to do.
Right.
So you have to have the determination of why is it that you want to get in real estate?
Yeah.
What's your goal? What's your end goal? Is it because you want to flip properties? Is it because, you want to be a landlord? What is it that you truly want to do? Yeah. And if you can come up with the answer to that, then you'll have a better opportunity of being successful because you have a goal. Most people just see the things online and be like, hey, I want to get a rental property. Teach me how to analyze a deal. Teach me how to get the funding. Teach me how to do the rehab. Teach me how to cash out refi.
Yeah.
Then what? They have no idea. It's people right now living off of cash out refis because their mentor didn't teach them how to find a tenant. Their mentor didn't teach them that you need a system. Real estate is a business.
Yeah.
But everybody don't run it like a business. That's the difference between us.
Wow. So I say I got 15,000 right now, roughly the amount that I could maybe be prepared to get into. Let's say I got a 700 credit score. What is my next step?
So for me, I'm always going to ask the individual, where do you see yourself in the next 2 years in real estate? Do you think you're in position to be a landlord, or you just really, just flirting around with this?
Well, and this is a good question because I was asking Nasir this. So is it, and I know my answer, so I'll give it to you, but is it rent? Is it buy, hold, and rent, landlord, right? Or is it buy, hold, and resell? Or buy and resell? So which one? I think I want to rent because for me, I'm thinking if I got some extra money, I don't want to lose the money.
Right.
I want the money to grow a bit. And if I can always pull the money back out and maybe use it for some of my other business stuff, why not I just keep the property in rent versus making a quick 50, 100 or something over here and being totally done with it. Whereas I'm like, no, this thing still has value.
Yeah.
So I think that's my answer is rent. But what would your answer be? Is it rent or is it buy and sell?
So what you're talking about is the BRRRR method.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
What I teach is buy, flip, hold.
Okay.
And here's the reason why. Because most people who buy a rental property, if you don't have all the funds to buy the property, right? So if you're coming in and you're using your LLC, you're probably putting down anywhere between 10% up to 25 to 30% down. If you don't have that, then you go and you find somebody that's going to give you some funding strategies, right? So somebody goes, get some business credit cards, get a business line of credit. So now you built up debt in order just to get more debt to buy the property.
Right.
Now I'm not opposed of it.
Yeah.
But my system is, why not, if you're gonna go that route, buy the flip first. Buy the property, fix it up. One, you're going to get experience of doing a rehab. You're going to make some mistakes, but guess what? You ain't got to keep the property because you're selling it. Right. So you buy the property, you flip it. You take the proceeds of the flip, you 1031 exchange it. You take half of that. Now you buy your hold, and then you buy another flip. So now you create your own bank. Velocity banking.
So, okay, good. So the buy and flip process is really the big crash course you need to not be just in a book with this thing. You're going to experience so many learnings. This is funny because my neighbor is, my business neighbor over here, runs a construction company.
Right.
And he's been doing it several years, older white guy. And he basically says he used to buy and flip, basically. And I was a flipper. And I remember him saying this. Now he does a lot of new construction. And he does all of that.
Graduated.
But is that the proper step? That, and I know you teach this, but maybe explain to us why the proper step. So let's say I may have enough money to go buy something new construction right now. What am I missing out on because I didn't do the buy and flip?
Experience.
And that's gonna bite me.
Oh yeah, because you're gonna pay somebody to guide and direct you on how your new construction should be built, right? But what if you have that contractor? Remember, contractor, C-O-N first. You got that contractor that doesn't do you right.
Right.
So now you're building this new construction. You don't have the experience. You don't have the knowledge. You're going by what somebody else is telling you. However, if you build up the experience first, like everybody got to crawl before you walk, right?
Yeah.
So if you do a flip first, or even if you do a BRRRR and do a rental, you're getting You're experimenting and getting the experience of what you need. Most codes are almost the same, right? It's some codes that are different from new construction, but if you never did anything at all, you're going to spend more money on your new construction project because you just don't have the knowledge.
You're being played.
Right. Well, I'm not going to say you're being played, but I'm going to say you just don't know the knowledge. Because you could have somebody who do you right.
Yeah.
But when you walk into the new construction and somebody says, this is how it's supposed to be, you just going yes on the devil. Okay, cool. It looks good to me. Or I'm gonna wait for the inspector to come in and have the inspector tell me if it's right or wrong.
You don't have no idea why it should be.
You have no idea.
I have no idea why the electrical outlet needs to be there versus there, or why the stud is here versus here.
Exactly.
I just got no clue.
You have no clue. So you're paying. You're putting your finances and you're putting your business and your project in somebody else's hands to run it for you. Then it's okay as long as you trust the contractor.
As long as you trust the contractor.
You know what I'm saying?
This is good, Calvin. This is really good because it's like, we always, I love to like equate how things don't make sense in other areas. Like you don't just get to the NBA.
Nah.
You started in, the YMCA league or AAU. Right. There were steps. But then when you try to do other things, it's like we try to skip steps because it's like, okay, if I got 100,000 right now, why don't I just go do what 100,000 can get me?
For sure.
But what you said is you shouldn't really try to crawl, or you shouldn't try to walk before you crawl. Yeah. There is some learning and crawling that we're like you forsake if you just try to jump over that step.
For sure. Now a lot of people might say, well, if you got 100,000 and you got a contract, contract goes with the contractor.
Yeah.
So I mean, a contract is only good as the man that's holding it.
Right.
So even though you got a contract and you're showing up every day, but do you know what you're looking for? Right? When I first, before I did my first new construction property with my mentor, I was scared. Yeah. Because I didn't know.
Yeah.
I only did a couple flips. I had some rental properties that I was holding. And when we did new construction together, I followed his lead. He put up the most of the money.
Yeah.
I followed his lead and then I learned. And then after my second or third one, Then I did the 4th, 5th, 6th one. I had to get my feet wet.
Right.
And I still made mistakes.
Yeah.
But guess what I did know? I did know what I was looking for. I did know how to talk to the contractors and say, hey, listen, the fire block's supposed to be over here. Or, the framing is supposed to be this way.
Yeah.
You should have blocked up coming the steps this way. At least I had more education. Now, people might say, well, you can hire somebody to do that. Well, I didn't have that type of money to be paying all these different people to come in and run my project for me. Because if you too hands off, that means you got to be too hands on with the money.
Right.
Right?
If you completely hands off, then you got to be spending all the money.
Have the money. Yep.
But even if you got the money, it's probably, like, to your point, it's probably you're doing yourself maybe a disservice because you basically overpaying and you're kind of being frivolous. A bit versus really learning what you could have learned had you been more hands-on.
Yeah, and not only that, but it goes back to originally what we was talking about, like, what's your journey? What's your purpose of real estate? Is it just because I want to flip one property, or I want to, I just want to build one new construction, or do I want to build a portfolio? Your finishing goal is going to determine how you should start and how you should educate yourself. And most people just jump in because it looks good online.
Yeah. What about the person that says, I don't want tenants? Like, what's the biggest headache with tenants? Like, what should, I like real estate, but I don't want to deal with them tenants. Like, how do you get the stomach, get the capacity, the tenacity to continue to deal with people that may not be nice? Or what's your worst tenant story?
Systems.
Oh, systems.
Save yourself time, energy, money, and stress.
Save yourself time, money, energy, and stress. Save
time,
yourself
energy, money, and stress.
Oh, that's good.
You got to have systems.
Yeah.
It's not even just about the tenant. Anything you do, if you don't have a system, you're violating your foundation. So when you're building up a business, you're building up anything, it always starts with a foundation. A system brings the strength to that foundation. So when people be like, oh, I don't want to deal with no tenant. Tenants is bad. You don't have a system.
That's why you think tenants is bad, because you don't have no system.
Did you screen them properly? Right?
Part of the system, screening.
Right. You got to have a system. Do you have a filtration? And you don't have to do everything.
Yeah.
Find the person who's the best at that.
Right.
So for me, when I'm getting my tenants, I find somebody that knows how to do tenant placement. Now, before, I used to do all of that. So I learned it, but now I can hire somebody that can screen my tenants. Yeah. Now, their job, strictly screening the tenants. That's it. Yeah. They don't do no construction. They don't go to Home Depot. They don't go to Lowe's. They screen tenants. That's what they do every day, all day. So that way, I'm getting a more reliable tenant that's coming in. The other thing is deliver a good product. You got a lot of people out here doing the Burr method, and they delivering trash. Yeah. People think, because you go Section 8, they're going to accept anything. Section 8 is one of the most bougiest tenant in today's time. I promise you. I promise you. They're not going for it no more. Yeah. You know what I mean? So if your units aren't up to specs, if your units are just, lipstick and I'm just throwing some paint on the walls and I'm just going to give them anything, you're going to get that type of tenant. So now you're opening up the door of a headache. Yeah. For me, I'm trying to give you everything that you need. I want you to be in my units and love it. So one of my strategies
no matter your income level.
No, absolutely. I mean, I love Section 8. Right. Absolutely. Okay. But my strategy is this. I build 2-bedroom units and I rent them out to 1-bedroom vouchers. Why? Because you're going to grow into the unit. That means that tenant is going to stay a little bit longer. If I rent out a 2-bedroom unit to a 2-bedroom person, whether if it's a man, woman with a child, a mom with a child, a dad with a child, eventually you're going to grow out of that unit. Yeah. The goal of real estate is to keep you there as long as possible. Right. So I'm renting 2-bedroom units, renting them out to a 1-bedroom voucher. The other thing is, and I know it sounds a little bit of this, being discriminatory, but you got to be 55 older to rent with me. I'm your last stop.
I'm your last stop.
Homes. Yeah. I'm building retirement homes. So when you rent my apartments, you got to be 50, 55 or older. You ain't going nowhere. Where you going? Right. You settled? Yeah. Right? I gave you a 2-bedroom for a 1-bedroom voucher. Where you going? You love it. Right. You walking in, you getting carried out. That's my structure.
But hopefully it's a beautiful place for them to live.
Beautiful. I give them everything they need. Yeah. I give them everything. So
that's interesting because most people aren't thinking about, I guess, maybe, I don't know what most people are thinking, but I guess I wasn't thinking about 55 and older, more senior, more like last part of your life. I think somebody was telling me the other day we expected maybe to get to 78, and the last 10 years ain't really strong quality of life. So you maybe 68, depending on how you treated yourself.
Sure.
So, so basically give them something that's fresh and new. Even though they're older, they still want something fresh and new.
And you gotta not be a good landlord. You gotta be a great landlord. Holidays roll around, I'm giving my tenants gift cards.
Oh,
Birthdays, I'm giving them gift cards. Why? Because I want them to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend.
Yeah.
Older people talk. They love to talk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
my landlord gave me X amount for the holidays.
And then they're going to talk about it. And then guess what? Their family members who know that they're there running my units, they feel comfortable for their tenants. I mean, for their family member to be there as a tenant. So when people say, I'm struggling with tenants, I don't want to be a landlord because of the tenants is this, the tenant is that. You have to check yourself. You can't blame the tenant. What's your process?
Your process is off.
Yeah, your process is off. If your unit is not up to spec, if you're not doing your full screening, if you're just accepting somebody to accept them, that means you don't have enough education when it comes to finding a tenant.
How'd you learn this?
Trial and error.
Trial and error.
Yeah.
So what's one red flag that your screeners now know that you wish you would have knew when you first started screening people? What's a red flag?
Red flag to me is when somebody has a sense of urgency to move in right now. Hey, I have an emergency. My truck is out front. I got all the first month, last month, security deposit today, right now.
Whoa.
Right. But you're not going to have it in 6 months.
Yeah.
So all money's not good money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people that try to rush my process. Hey, listen, I got my Section 8 voucher. I need to get in here within the next 2 weeks. I don't rush my process.
No, thank you.
I'm not trying to move fast. I'm trying to move correct. So I'll take my time.
I mean, Calvin got all the. I'm not trying to move fast. I'm trying to move correct.
Because think about it. If I have, first and foremost, when I'm building my units, I'm putting in my vacancy time of how long it's going to take me to rent it. I don't build a unit and say I need to have somebody in there within 2 weeks. I'm building a unit saying I'm giving myself 90 days. And I'm putting that money to the side that I'm going to carry this mortgage. I'm going to carry this financial responsibility for those 90 days. And I'm going to take my time.
Yeah.
Because the more I screen that tenant, the longer they're going to stay. The faster you throw somebody in there, you're going to have a faster problem. I don't want no problems.
Yeah. Quick tenant, quick problems.
Yep.
So let me ask you this. This is on a personal level. So I got some property still because I kind of got back into the tax sale thing. So I don't know if you familiar, if they do tax sale stuff.
Yeah, I love tax sales.
Okay, so that's about all I know about real estate. I got burnt, gosh, that was 15, 20 years ago. I don't know. Long time ago. Got burnt because people were stealing out of the property. I didn't have a process, didn't have a system.
Yep.
Okay, so now I'm older and I'm like, I saw an opportunity. So maybe a couple years ago, I got some more property. Ain't did nothing with it. It's in probably the most, I don't know. How do I say this? In like socioeconomically depressed area of where I'm from. Challenged areas, right? And I'm trying to think about it now. Like, does it ever make sense? Because most of these properties are vacant. It's not like it's just land.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the way the city is, assessing the property on it. And I'm just like, is it ever going to make sense for me to do anything with these?
Absolutely.
How would you advise me in this area? And feel free to throw in, the gems. But
here's the thing.
Okay.
You never wait to buy real estate. You buy real estate and wait.
Real
estate value always gonna go up.
Okay.
Whether if it's now, today, tomorrow, it's always gonna go up. They ain't making no more land.
I love what you do. I wish you could say that over. You never buy. Say it again.
You never wait to buy real estate.
You never wait to buy real estate.
You buy real estate and then wait.
You buy real estate and then wait.
Right.
That's always a clip right there.
What I always tell people is this: you got to always have 3 acquisition strategies and 3 exit strategies.
Okay.
So one of your acquisition strategies can be, hey, I'm gonna buy this piece of land. I'm just gonna sit on it.
Yeah.
If the taxes is a couple $100, if I can afford to carry it, I'm gonna sit on it.
Yeah.
I promise you, in the next 3 to 5 years, you can wholesale it, you can flip it, you can build on it, you can do something with it.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of people feel like, oh, the interest rates is up high, or it's not a good time to get into real estate. It's always a good time. I buy real estate all year round. Interest rates don't bother me.
No matter.
Prices don't bother me.
Yeah.
I got a strategy for everything.
Yeah.
And if you got a strategy, that means you know how to pivot. Some deals are meant for you to wholesale.
Yeah.
Some deals are meant for you to hold. Some deals are meant for you to build on. Some deals are meant for you to flip. Some deals are meant for you to have a tenant in it.
Yeah.
You gotta have a strategy, and that's where most people don't get it. They don't have, they got one hit wonder. I do this type of real estate. So when the interest rates go up, I'm stuck.
Yeah.
So if you have a piece of property and you sitting on it, just figure out what strategy will work for that for it to be lucrative for you.
Okay.
Don't give it up yet.
Don't give it up. Nah. So it's actually not a bad thing.
Heck no.
You just wait and you learn, you get that education, and there may be an opportunity for me to do something, or there will be likely an opportunity for me to do something with it. Okay.
So I want to drop a gem for your people. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, the biggest thing happened to us was the pandemic. Interest rates dropped to 4%.
Yeah.
I went crazy.
Yeah.
I bought every single family home that I can get my hands on.
Yeah.
Now, most people are going to say, well, why would you buy single family homes? That's the worst type of investment.
Yeah.
Is it? Because 4 years later, your number one retail buyer in real estate is a single family home.
Yeah.
So if I bought 15 to 20 single family homes in 3 to 4 years ago, what you think I'm flipping today?
Yeah.
That's why you don't wait to buy real estate. You buy real estate on
and then wait.
Those properties I was buying them for less than $100,000. I'm selling them now. The lowest one is for $250,000. The highest one is $315,000. No work. I bought them all with DSCR loans.
Yeah.
I put down 15, 20% to get the properties.
Yeah.
I sat on 30-year mortgages, right? Some properties I put tenants in them. My mortgage was anywhere between $500-$700 a month because they was 4%.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I put a tenant in there, charge them low, maybe $1,500 a month, cash flowing I'm charging them $1,500 a month. If I'm paying $700, I'm cash flowing like seven and some change on my cash flow.
Yeah.
Interest rates start going back up. We got out of COVID. I put them on the market and sell them.
Wow.
Building my own bank.
That's great.
That's the strategy.
But how do you, and that was, I guess, because you've been in it so long, you knew that this was coming back. But what?
No. You know, it's interesting you asked that because that people ask like, oh, gee, how did you know to buy? The interest rates dropped to 4% on a DSCR loan.
Yeah.
I thought it was a mistake.
Explain to us what a DSCR loan is.
So a DSCR loan is a debt service and coverage ratio.
Okay.
It's a loan that you can buy with your LLC and your business name, and you can go right in with a 30-year mortgage. Now, you have to put more money down, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes 10, 15, 20, 25% down, but you're going right in. They're not going to give you any money for the rehab. Okay. So the property has to either be a turnkey or in livable and live-in condition. That's what that DSCR loan did. But no, I didn't know that I was going to go buy those 15 properties. Yeah. What I did know is that when the interest rate dropped to 4%, it was unheard of.
Yeah.
My DSCR interest rates when I was doing was 9, 10, 11%.
Yeah.
So when they dropped to 4%, I thought it was a fluke.
Yeah.
So what I said was, I'm going to buy everything until they figure it out.
Right.
And I bought as much as I could.
I know they done made a mistake.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And when I tell people that, it was like, no, I'm saying it's right here. 4%. I went crazy.
So, okay, the other scary thing for people, what about debt and just the word debt? And I don't know, should I get into debt? Debt is scary. I got to stay away from debt. I got to pay down debt. Debt is the,
Yeah.
So talk to people that want to be in real estate that have trepidation around debt. I'm scared of debt. How did you get over that fear, and how would you suggest others?
So anything that happens with debt, you have to understand there's good debt and then there's bad debt. What I teach in real estate is that you have to understand what is your minimum cash flow goal. And how do you get that? You get your minimum cash flow goal because you take everything that you pay every month.
Yep.
Not something that something else is paying for. Something that you pay for, whether if it's your paycheck, whether if it's the money that you're bringing in, whatever income you have, you take that number. So let's just say, for example, my debt is $5,000 a month.
Okay.
I times that by 2.
Okay.
That's $10,000.
Right.
So now I'm going to continue to do real estate until my cash flow hits $10,000 a month. Anything after the $10,000 a month go directly towards the debt.
Okay.
So now what do I mean by this? I mean that if I go in and I do a flip, if I 1031 exchange, I take 50% of that and I buy another flip property or another hold. I can take the other 50% and I'm going to take it back to the property that has the highest interest rate. And I'm going to put that directly towards the debt.
Yeah.
So I can start getting that debt down and get it down and get it down. Now, some people might say, well, why pay down the debt? Because you can write it off. You can do different things like that. But for me, you have to learn how to pivot, right? I look at life. We got 4 quarters in life,
right?
0 to 20, It's the first quarter.
Yeah.
Out of your 20s, now you got your 30s to your 40s. That's the second quarter.
Yeah.
Right. Then you got your out of your 40s, now you got your 50 to your 60.
Yeah.
Right. That's your fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Right. The life expectancy is 73 to 75.
Yeah.
So at some point you got to pivot your portfolio. For me, I'm in that pivot of my portfolio.
Right.
Where now I want to have the properties that are bringing me in the highest cash flow that I can get most of the debt down as much as possible so I don't have to worry about it. Now, I'm not saying get it down to zero.
Right.
But you want to alleviate the debt, get it down as much as possible so you can increase the cash flow.
Yeah.
So when I pass this on to my son, right, who's going to take over the throne, he ain't got to worry about that. What if he don't want to do real estate?
Right.
I'm sitting here building all these empires of real estate. He gonna come in like, that was my dad's dream. That wasn't my dream.
Right.
Right. So I got to put him in position that if he don't even want to do real estate, he can sell these properties off and still be good.
Mm-hmm. So deal with it in a way where at one point, maybe your early 20s, you can, your, what is it called? Debt tolerance is a little higher.
Very high.
But now when you get to our second, third quarter, let's play differently with it. Let's not keep it so out of bounds that it's like, okay, that's a little wild. Let's get it to more manageable, or to where, like you said, it's and do you just build the stomach for it over time? Like if I got because I've had a lot of debt with the cars. People, banks have come to me and said, "Oh, what in the world is going on here?" But I'm like, it's paying for itself.
For sure.
So it's not like, to me, it's not a big deal, and I think it's hard for them to run their calculation sometimes if they don't see all the income. And so I've kind of got a bit of a stomach now for debt. And similarly, I'm getting to the point now, I've done the card thing for 3 years. I'm paying them off, right? So there's several cards that I'm paying off just so I have lower debt as it relates to that. But what would you say? Does a person have to have the stomach for it?
What I say is don't fall into predatory lending. And what I mean by that is that if you're about to be 60, 65 years old, you shouldn't be getting no 30-year mortgage.
Right.
You ain't gonna be around to see it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you're putting your family and your loved ones in position to carry your debt. Now people might say, well, you can take the debt with you. Yeah, you probably can. Yeah. Right? The other side of that is put all your debt in LLCs. So here's my structure. Right? I got one LLC, right? And let's say that particular LLC, the debt on that I'm gonna hold up to about $5 million, $6 million. Then I'm going to get an IUL policy that the LLC is going to be the beneficiary of that IUL policy. So if anything ever happens to me, the debt is paid for after I'm dead and gone. And this is just for my children out there. I am worth more dead than alive right now, but don't think of nothing funny. You know what I'm saying? I'm still on my P's and Q's. You know what I'm saying? But if you put yourself in position, you can absorb the debt when you pass, but don't continue to create debt. At some point, you got to put a cap on it.
Right.
So my LLCs, I might cap 5 million, 6 million. That LLC is capped, but there is no debt on my personal name. I'm a ghost. Everything I own is in the LLC. I don't put nothing in my name. Yeah. Even to primary property. For what?
That's part of the system.
Save yourself time, energy, money, and stress. Everything goes into the LLC. So that way, when you say, do you have to stomach the debt? There's nothing to stomach. Because it's in a business name. Yeah. Business come and business go. Right. But I'm just not going to make predatory lending decisions to put my family in harm. Yeah. So I want to make sure I make the right decisions. But I love debt, but I'm responsible enough to know that I want to get the debt down. So if anything happens, like there's very few people in my family who's going to have the same mindset as me when it comes to real estate. Right. So I got to put them in position that the cash flow comes in every 30 days. So if they don't even like to do the real estate, they know on the 31st day, that check gonna hit. Check coming. Right? So if they don't like anything, they're gonna like that. Yeah, they're gonna like that money. and if they mess that up, guess what? They can go ahead and sell the property because most of the property's debt is coming down. And the IULs kick in, the life insurance kick in. So I put them in position. So I would say if you're building debt, if you're in your 20s, go for it. Yeah. Because like you said, you have the tolerance level. When you get to that third, fourth quarter, you got to start pivoting and reevaluating your situation. Yeah. No, that's dope. What would you say is, I'm guessing, been around wealthy people as well as people that may not have as much means. What would you say is the key difference between wealthy people and people that aren't as wealthy? They don't talk. Wealth is silence. Too many people talk too much. That's how you know they're not wealthy. Right? Rich is loud. Yeah. Wealth, they don't talk about wealth. Nothing to say. Because you know why? wealth is not money. Wealth is time. Wealth, being rich gives you the ability and the tools to open up the door of wealth. It's about how much time do you get back. People equate wealth with money. Wealth ain't money. You don't see no wealthy person talking about their money. You know what they talk about? Eating right, going to the gym, networking, being at peace, traveling the world.
Yeah.
They don't talk about, oh, I gotta go make some money. No. They trying to preserve time.
Right.
they focused on how much time I got left.
Yeah.
That's wealth.
Yeah.
And people don't talk about money when they're wealthy.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's a lot. You know, you are a wealth of knowledge. Clearly, you are really hands-on. You are really doing it. Is it only Philly? Is that the only place you'll deal with? Do you have stuff in other parts of the country or world?
I wish the country. It sounds like it though, right?
Right.
So at one point in time, I had properties in a lot of other different places, but I'm at that pivot point in my life where I want to keep things condensed and tightened up so I can manage it better.
Right.
I mean, I want to travel and relax, and by doing that, the way that my system is set up, I'd rather invest where I rest. So I keep my money in my backyard.
Right. No, that's good. That's good. What would you say, people that, let's say if I wanted to join and learn from you, do I need to fly to Philly and get my hands dirty, or is it really just, or do you have anybody doing that? Anybody that's like,
sure.
I want to learn so bad that I'm coming. Tell me when to be there, weekends, whatever.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna be very transparent with you. If they would have caught me 3-4 years ago, I would say, hey, click the link, pay, get on my Zoom call.
Yeah.
We don't do that no more because that's not beneficial. So if it's feasible for you to get to Philadelphia at least once a month for at least 3 to 4 months, you're gonna learn this real estate. What I tell people that if you're in the tri-state area in Philadelphia, tap in with me because I'm in real estate every day, 4 hours on Sunday.
Yeah.
If you can't get to Philadelphia, because I got people in Canada, I got people in California. What those mentees do right now is they start their own project and then they do consultation calls. So like it's once you hit a roadblock, you book your consultation call, we get on a Zoom, we get on a FaceTime, I get you through the process.
Right.
So if you think about it, let's just say a consultation call was $250 times 10 calls, that's $2,500. Within 10 calls or 20 calls, you're going to get your project done.
Right.
I'm talking to your contracts. I'm talking to whoever you need me to talk to on that consultation. That's your time.
Right.
You book that call, you tell me what you need from me, we're going to get it done.
We're going to get through it.
But if you're in the tri-state, pull up. You're not going to learn this from being on Zoom.
Yeah.
You got to pull up.
You got to really pull up and be a part of it. Yeah. That's what's up, man. What else I feel like I want to ask you more stuff because I really want to get into real estate. Like in my mind, I really that needs to be my next move.
You got to do it.
But yeah. So there's a bunch on my mind. But what have I not asked you that you would that you want to share with the people?
I would just say, listen, if you are really, really interested in getting into real estate, understand what your goals are, what your objectives are, and what are you trying to do in life? What's your end strategy? And if you don't have that, stop looking for a mentor. Just stop. Figure out what you need first, and then find a person who can give you the things that you need, and you can follow that. Are they teachable? Are you teachable?
Yeah.
Right? Do you follow instructions? Do you execute? Because a lot of people got information, but you as a mentee, if you can't execute, then you're only wasting your time or you're wasting other person's time. So if you want to get into real estate, figure out what it is that you want. Find the person that you can relate to. Find the person that you feel that is doing real estate. I'm not talking about the influencers online. I'm talking about somebody that you can go to the property, somebody you see in properties every day. If you see people posting on real estate every day, but they're not in properties, what they're really teaching you. Because you can't do both, I promise you. You can't do both.
Yeah, no, that's good.
You can't put up 50 posts a day and then talk about you in 50 properties as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just don't make sense.
Yeah, it don't make sense. Let me ask you this, because to me, based on, and we're just meeting today, but
for sure,
to me, you seem successful. You see, I like the energy, the being willing to share, the transparency. So my question for you is, what does success feel like for you right now?
Success for me is helping and watching other people win. That's my success.
Yeah,
I'm past the money. I'm past the foolery. If I can help you win, we're gonna win together. That's my success.
Yeah,
because me creating more leaders, me creating more real estate investors is the success for me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care about cars. I don't care about none of that.
Yeah.
Just let me help some people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my
That's
success.
dope, man. That's super dope. Well, Calvin, thanks for coming on the show,
appreciate
man.
you, man.
You've been a huge blessing, and hopefully y'all really picked up on this idea that, look, it's not about the influencer, it's about the real investor, but it's that authenticity, like we started the show with. Like, whatever you're doing in life, be authentic. Don't be fake. It's going to eventually show. Yeah. So be authentic. Calvin.
Yes, sir.
Talk to the people. Tell them how to find you. Tell them how they can reach out to you if they want to get the mentorship, if they want to just learn.
For sure.
All of that. Tell them how to find you.
So you can find me on all social media platforms at Calvin Cannon Jr. CalvinCannonJr. Just follow me. Once you start following me, look at what I do. And if something that I'm doing is an influencing you to want to get into real estate, tap in with me. But look at what I'm doing first. Don't just jump on because you see stuff that look good. Look exactly, see what I'm doing. Follow me on all social media platforms. Subscribe on my YouTube. And look, everybody want to do real estate until it's time to do real estate.
That's it, y'all. It's another episode of The Journey. Y'all stay motivated. Peace.